Good morning, Year 4. This is my hints and tips video for Lesson 1, round decimals. Okay, so work along with me and pause and review the video as often as you need to. So just a quick bit of revision about rounding numbers. Okay, so sometimes you are asked to round to the nearest 10, sometimes to the nearest hundreds, or to the nearest thousand. Okay, so let's write the digits between 0 and 9. So we start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, and we know that the digits from 5 to 9, okay, they round up, and the digits from 4 to 0 round down. Okay, and when we round down, the digit stays the same, and when we round up, the digit increases by 1. All right, so let's have a quick example. So here we have the number 3,827. Okay, and I want you to round that number to its nearest 10, to the nearest 100, and to the nearest 1,000. Okay, so first of all, you're going to be rounding to the nearest 10, and then 3,827. You are going to round to the nearest 100, and then 3,827. You're going to round to the nearest 1,000. All right, so what you need to remember is you look in the place value column next to the digit you're rounding. Okay, so when we're rounding to the nearest 10, we look in the ones. When we're rounding to the nearest 100, we look in the tens. And when we're rounding to the nearest 1,000, we look in the hundreds. Okay, so just round those numbers now. Pause the video and then we'll check your answers. Okay, so 3,827 the digit we're looking at is a 7, so it rounds up. So our tens increase by 1, so we get 3,830. All right. When we're rounding to the nearest 100, we look in the tens. It's a 2, so it's going to round down, so the digit stays the same, 3,800. Okay, and finally, when we're rounding to the nearest 1,000, we look in the hundreds, and there is an 8, so it's going to round up, which means our digit increases by 1, so we have 4,000. Okay, and we can round decimal numbers too. All right, so we know that decimal numbers are a fraction of a whole number. So if we look at the decimal numbers between the tenths, between the whole 6 and 7, Okay, so it will go 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, 6.7, 6.8, and 6.9. Okay, so we can see that because we have the tenths here, the 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, these ones, if I was rounding these numbers, they would round up to 7, and here where I've got 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, okay, these are the numbers that would round down to 6. So here is another example, number 14.8. I'm going to round that to its nearest whole number, all right? So you need to think that 14.8 actually sits between 14 and 15, okay? So we're rounding to the nearest whole number, so we need to look, all right, in the tenths. Actually, what we're really doing is rounding to our nearest whole here. So we are thinking about the 0.8, and 8 always rounds up. So this means that our digit in the ones increases by 1, so we're going up. Okay, let's do another example. Okay, so we've now got the number 14.4, which sits between 14 and 15, and we're rounding to our nearest one, nearest whole number. Okay, and we're looking in the tenths. All right, so we know that 14.4 sits between 14 and 15, and as we've got a 4 in the tenths, it's going to round down to 14. Okay, all right, so I think most of it is quite straightforward today, except they're introducing to you, I think, a new word, a new mathematical word, all right, which is this integer. Okay, now an integer is a whole number. Okay, so that's all it is. It's just a word that means whole number. All right, so there is no decimal and no fraction when you have an integer. It is a whole number. All right, so when you are asked to round to the nearest integer, what they're doing is asking you to round to the nearest whole. And this is my last little hint for today, okay? So it comes ready for the last question, question 10, which asks you to rounding with the number 32. I'm not going to use 32 because otherwise I'll give you the answer. All right, so let's pick a different one. All right, so the number 47. Okay, now where people make an error with this type of question is you're asked what could Tommy be rounding, where his answer would have given you 47. Okay, now what people tend to do is remember that there are some numbers that would round down to 47, or they look at it the other way and they remember there are some numbers that would round up. Okay, to find all the possibilities, you need both sets of numbers. All right, so the numbers that would round down, we know, have to end in with a 1, 2, 3 or 4. So that would be 47.1, 47.2, 47.3 and 47.4. And our numbers that would round up, okay, all right, so we would be looking at 46.9, 46.8, 46.7, 46.6 and 46.5. Okay, so just check you haven't missed any out. All right, have you got them all there? Okay, so we know that these ones are the ones that round up and these ones are the ones that round down. All right, so make sure you get them all, work systematically, all right, and have fun with your maths. Okay.